Dead of the Night. The first DLC pack for Black Ops 4 was actually one of the first maps ever to be launched without a trailer. In fact, the trailer actually came out after the map came out, so why did they end up releasing that after the map came out? I have no idea. I remember hearing that this map was supposed to be a launch map, but due to celebrity cast issues, they had to push the map back, so maybe that has something to do with it or something behind the scenes. Regardless though, we're talking about Dead of the Night today, and this map recently has become a cult classic among many Zombies fans, especially on the COD Zombies subreddit. The people in there love this map. Is this map deserving of all the praise it's been getting recently? Well, let's hop right into it now. Beginning us off in the pros section is actually the aesthetic of the map. The aesthetic of this map is second to none. We're in an old mansion, Alistair Rhodes' mansion to be specific. Inside the mansion, it's exactly what you expect. It's like in one of those old movies where there's parties happening, there's sculptures all over the place, there's an indoor waterfall. However, it's been infested with zombies and a chaos story twist has been put on the mansion. There's debris everywhere, there's blood, there's stuff all over the floor. What was once a clean mansion in the opening cutscene is absolutely destroyed and tarnished from inside out. Speaking of the outside is actually a cold, dark forest, housing not only just zombies, but we have werewolves as well. And not just werewolves, bats, aka Nosferatus, they're here too. An old callback to some old movies, mythology, everything is here and represented, and I think the aesthetic hits the nail on the head. However, aesthetics aren't the only thing this map got right. We got a little bit of stuff to talk about. Starting us off, we're going in strong with the new wonder weapon, the Alistair's Folly. Think of the ray gun, but this is the Chaos equivalent. It's really good and fun. However, it can be upgraded. It's not with a normal Pack-a-Punch quest, however, you need to get 2 parts that are hidden around the map, and when you upgrade it, it becomes the Chaos Theory. It's still the same ray gun, however, has 2 charged attacks. It has an attack that you shoot on the ground, and then it'll cause a more of a mind-controlled turned effect to spread all over the zombies that allow them to walk away from you. They don't start attacking other zombies like turned. And then of course we have a tornado shot that's very similar to the charge shot from the wind staff. Very good piece of equipment with a lot of ammo and is super fun to use. However, it can be upgraded again into the Alistair's Annihilator. The Alistair's Annihilator is very unique as it is once again like the ray gun. It has the same 2 charge shots from the Chaos Theory, but it actually gets 2 new charge shots. We have a charge shot that shoots a fireball that disintegrates any zombies that walk through it. Talk about badass. And then we have a charge shot that creates a green vortex that sucks zombies down to hell. I mean, dude, this thing is the epitome of badass. And spoiler alert for the rest of the series for Chaos, this is my favorite Chaos Wonder Weapon by a landslide. It's cooler than the Kraken, it's cooler than Death of Orion. Once again, spoilers, it's cooler than the Gauntlets. I love the Alistair's Annihilator, and it's one of the reasons I love playing this map so much. It's so unique. It's a fucking pistol, and it has all these abilities. You look at this damn thing on like the screenshot of the map, you think it looks shit, but this thing is one of the best wonder weapons of all time. It's infinite damage, it's stylish, it has so many effects, and the color changes every time you upgrade it to make it even more unique. It's such a good weapon, man. And that's not even the only wonder weapon on this map. We actually have another one called the Savage Impaler, albeit it's not nearly as good as the Alistair's Annihilator, and it's much harder to get, but it still is something. It's more of like a crossbow, Danak Shadowclaw hybrid, and that's not even all for wonder weapons. We actually have the Steak Knife. Remember when I was talking about Nosferatus? Well, this thing is pretty much like a souped up Bowie knife that can one-shot them at any round. With Ethereal Razor, this thing is a beast. It's very hard to get, and if you mess up getting it once, you can't get it for the rest of the game. A little bit of an extreme punishment if you ask me, but it is worth it to get. This map, on the surface, doesn't look like it has a lot of wonder weapons, but it does. Well, that may be it in wonder weapons. This map certainly isn't lacking in buildables. There are dead ass like 15 parts and 30 spawn locations for all the parts on this map. This is one of the reasons this map is so controversial, at least when it was first came out. It's kind of like Shadows of Evil. No one liked it on release and everyone's starting to like it now. Definitely understandable because after you understand this map, it really does have a lot going for it. Of course, we have the Return of the Shield, which is nice. We actually get the Fire Trap, which returns from Keynote or Toten. However, it's mounted in the library this time. We have the Electric Trap that returns from Verrucht. We also have a new feature called Silver Bullet. To quickly talk about it, we actually have a new type of mini-boss zombie, though. These are called werewolves. You normally first encounter these after opening Pack-a-Punch or starting from around 14 or so, around when the Panzer would normally spawn in. These guys without silver bullets are extremely tanky and dangerous. They can hit you for half your health. health, they have long range attacks, and most importantly, spawn in semi-frequently after round 14, so definitely make sure you have your guard up unless you have silver bullets. Silver bullets are very hard to build. There's approximately like 12 parts just for these alone that you need to get in order to get silver bullets though. Is it worth it? Yes, actually. Because not only when you get silver bullets do you actually have a constant smoke trail coming from your gun, you also get a secret new feature that a lot of people don't really talk about. You actually get unlimited ammo for any of your guns. When you go to get silver bullets, the first round is free. Always nice. However, even box weapons, this is before Cold War and ammo crates, getting a box gun, you normally can't refill the ammo unless you get a max ammo. However, with silver bullets, you can actually get infinite ammo. Going up to the silver bullets, you can actually purchase more, and the price never goes up, thus allowing this map to be one of the best maps to get dark matter on. This also allows you to be able to use any gun you want without the worry of using megas or hoping for a max ammo or something like that, especially since there's no boss rounds on this map, so you can't get max ammo from that. The silver bullets are a great feature, and they actually trivialize the werewolf too. These are worth getting every single game. It's a hassle to build them, but it's completely worth it when you do so. Unlike something like the Savage Impaler, while it is cool, it's not really worth it. Something worth doing though is actually this map's Easter egg. Yes, this Easter egg is in the pro section. There's a lot to talk about here, though it actually isn't as bad as you may think, so let's quickly get into it. So the first step, of course, is to turn on the power and get Pack-a-Punch and all that. The Pack-a-Punch quest is very annoying on this map. We'll talk about that. However, after acquiring the Sentinel artifact and getting the Pack-a-Punch, what you're going to actually want to do is with the Pack-a-Punch quest, where you need to actually look into some gazing stones, you need to go back up to those gazing stones and look in them again. You will actually see an object in those gazing stones. These are 3 routes you can go down to do the Easter egg in any order. There's the Zodiac route, the Night route, and then the Wicker Man route. We will start with the hardest route first. The Mausoleum route, the Telescope route, whatever you want to call it, the Zodiac symbol route. What you're going to want to do is head over to the Mausoleum area and then shoot the bell atop the Mausoleum. This will cause a laser to shoot through the sky and then into the statue room. What we need to do now is do a puzzle. This puzzle is the same every single time, so after you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. You need to turn these wheels in a certain order until the laser pushes through the statue's head, and then the statue's head will fall over and destroy some of the map. A very cool spectacle, to say the least. The next step is the worst step in some of Zombies history, is the Zodiac symbol step. I will spare you the pain. I will just tell you right now, it's very similar to the Voyage clock step, however it can be even worse than that. I'm not kidding, you can be on the step for over an hour if you don't know what you're doing. Anyway, you need to head over to the greenhouse area of the map. Go up to the top floor, and if you look inside, you will see this panel here. You need to enter your symbols on it in a certain order. After doing so, you need to turn on the electric trap, and then run through it with your shield, actually giving you the electric shield, which is really cool. The next thing you need to do is go back up to the top and hold interact on this wheel right here, and then hit it with your electric shield. This will cause the greenhouse roof to open, and then the full moon to be revealed. The next thing you need to do is actually a lockdown. This can actually be done right before the boss fight, but I recommend getting it done immediately. Go down under where you enter the symbols and hold interact on this rock. This will start a lockdown where of course you need to survive against all the map enemies, including Nosferatus and werewolves. This shouldn't be too hard as long as you have the wonder weapon, which is actually required for this Easter egg. Anyway though, after completing this step, you are done 1/3 of the Easter egg. Not bad at all, so let's keep going, as it only gets easier from here. We'll say for the sake of convenience you do the Wicker Man quest next. So what you need to do now is get the Alistair's Annihilator. Yes, you need to fully upgrade the wonder weapon. However, you want to do this anyway, so I don't really consider it as a bad thing. So after you unlock the Alistair's Annihilator, head over to around the graveyard area. Shoot 5 very odd looking trees with the Alistair's Annihilator, then pick up the branches from this. After picking up all the branches, you need to go around and look for a gravestone with your character's icon on it that says 1912. So after that, what you'll need to do is go up to this part of the map, in which all the branches will materialize and you're able to climb onto it. However, before you do that, you need to use your Alistair's Annihilator to shoot the fireball charge shot right under it. It's random if you get this or not, however, just shoot it enough times and you'll eventually get it. After this, you get onto the effigy, and then what ends up happening, you get sent down into hell. After this, you will actually respawn in Afterlife from Mob of the Dead. This is such a cool step. What you need to do now is go find a ghost at some point of the map and then escort it back to where you got sent back to hell from. What will end up happening is the ghost will actually disintegrate after you get back to the location, and then what you need to do is interact with the rock that the ghost disintegrated on. This will start another lockdown. You survive that lockdown, and then bam, you're 2/3 done. That effigy quest was one of my favorite quests in any Zombies map's Easter egg. It's really fun, it's very engaging, it has a very cinematic flair to it, a great step overall. The last quest is the night quest. What you need to do now is find some fire cores around the map to build the fire trap. These have a lot of locations, but there's multiple in each location, so it's not so bad. All you need is one to put in the library. After you put this fire core in the library, turn on the fire trap, and then shoot it with your Alistair's Annihilator. This will turn it blue. What you do now is get your shield out and then run through through it. This will actually cause your shield to catch on fire, giving you a fire shield. Very cool stuff. Now what you need to do is run up to 4 fireplaces and hit them in a certain order. After you hit the first 4 fireplaces in a certain order, you need to do this with 2 more sets of fireplaces. This is very easy after you get the hang of it. After this though, what you'll end up needing to do, go up to the 3 fireplaces you hit last and pick up a crystal from them. Then what you need to do is go around the map and insert these crystals into these knights around the map. After doing this, I suppose the knight's souls get absorbed into the crystals and start following you. You can't go too far from these things or they'll get lost. What you need to do is go around the map, find 3 of these, and then lead them all down to the forest area. You need to go down one side of each of the forests for each of the knights. Then what you need to do is get some zombie kills in all 3 circles. They'll move up after they get enough kills, and eventually they'll all be in a triangle around the Pack-a-Punch area. What will end up happening now is a triangle will spawn in, and you need to get inside that triangle and a werewolf will spawn. You will need to kill that werewolf inside the triangle, and then you need to do one more lockdown after that is finished. After the lockdown is finished, you will now be on the boss fight. First thing you need to do is go up to this wall right here, and then it'll open, revealing a chamber, in which a cutscene will actually commence, where the shadow werewolf will manifest. You actually get sent to a secret part of the map here, so this is really cool, the ruins area of the map. The first stage of this boss fight is very simple. The werewolf can actually go invisible, and if you look around the map, you will see these statues. These statues emanate a light. What you need to do is turn the statues until their lights are green, in which a tile on the ground will start glowing green. During the step, a bunch of zombies, werewolves, Nosferatus, catalysts, every type of zombie under the sun will spawn to try to take you down, so make sure you're on your guard. However, after you get the green tile, head over to that green tile, and eventually the shadow werewolf will actually dig over to you. Normally, if you're not on the green tile, the shadow werewolf can dig underground, and when the shadow werewolf gets up to you, he'll burrow out of the ground and do about 100 damage, which is about half your health. If some zombies are near you or on you, you will be in trouble here, so make sure you are on your guard. Anyway though, standing on the green tile, the shadow werewolf will of course dig over to you and burrow out of the ground. This will still damage you, so make sure you're careful. You'll actually be shocked by the green square, in which you need to shoot your gun into him. The Alistair's Annihilator is very good for this, and I also recommend the Helium Salvo. The Mog 12 shotgun is very good for this. However, ammo can be a huge problem here, and you're not going to get this done on your first run. So after the werewolf teleports back, because it's impossible to do enough damage, make sure to keep an eye on the max ammo and carpenter across the map, as when the phase changes, these will disappear and respawn with new ones. You will need to do this step with the werewolf about 5 or so times until he switches over to the second phase, in which is just a lockdown. Make sure to pick up your max ammo and carpenter before then. The second phase is super easy, as it's just a gauntlet against all types of zombies, including a secret enemy, the Crimson Nosferatu. You will first encounter the Crimson Nosferatu when doing the Alistair's Annihilator upgrade quest. It should be noted that these guys are not that dangerous. They are just faster versions of the normal Nosferatus, and they have an attack that can stop you in your tracks and leave you vulnerable for hits by the zombies. So make sure to be on your guard and to actually kill these things as fast as possible, as they're very fast. After the second phase, which hopefully shouldn't be too hard, what will end up happening next is the Shadow Werewolf will commence phase 3, in which is the same exact thing as phase 1. However, the green square is no longer visible on the map. Normally in phase 1, you'll be able to see where the green square is, and you can point the statues accordingly. However, in phase 3, the green square is invisible, and what you need to do is turn the statues until they turn green. When the light on the statue turns green, you gotta do this with all the other statues, and then rinse and repeat exactly what you did on stage 1. Anyway though, after damaging the werewolf enough, the boss fight will end, and then the cutscene will commence. And with that said, that brings us to the end of the pro section of this map. While this map is very complex, it does a lot right, and is a very fun map with a very enjoyable Easter egg minus the Zodiac step, which my first problem with this map is the Zodiac Easter egg step. I told you I'd spare you the gory details, and I will, but this step is miserable. Pretty much the juxt of it is you need to go around the map in 7 different locations, look for a very hard to see symbol, and look for very hard to see scratch marks, and then you need to add them up into a total number, and then organize them from least to greatest, and then you need to enter them into the greenhouse dial. This step is a nightmare, because sometimes the scratch marks are invisible, which means 0, so you might think your game is having a rendering issue, which is also still a possibility if I'm not mistaken, unless they fixed it. This Easter egg step is one of the worst of all time, because like Voyage, it doesn't tell you if you get it wrong, and this step is just so anti-player, it's not even funny. This entire Easter egg would have just been improved so much if this step wasn't here. Something else I think this map would have improved on if it wasn't here is the Nosferatus. There's just too many of these things. The enemies themselves are okay, there's just way too many when combined with catalysts and werewolves. The Crimson Nosferatus are very good, as they're extremely rare, don't even start spawning until like round 30, and during the Easter egg, but the normal Nosferatus can actually fuck right off. They're not as bad as Nova Crawlers, but they suck immensely. Something else that sucks is this map's Pack-a-Punch quest. I don't know what they were thinking with this. The first 2 steps for the Pack-a-Punch quest are pretty good. You need to go set a clock, and then you need to find one of the perk statues, which actually are random spawning, but it's not that bad. There's only so many locations, and then kill a bunch of Nosferatus. However, the third step for the Pack-a-Punch is always random, and there's about 10 different objectives you can get, and it gets extremely tedious when you swear you've known them all, and then some random one pops out that you have no idea about, and then you need to look up a guide to open fucking Pack-a-Punch. I understand they're trying to make this map extremely complex, but I think they just overdid it just a tiny bit with this. Sure, after you know everything, it's not so bad, but this leads me to my next point. This map's extreme learning curve for casuals. Yes, for hardcore players, it's not that bad. However, when it comes to the casual player, there are so many different parts on this map. Nobody is going to want to do that when they just want to play a fun game of zombies. I never even touched Dead of the Night until 2.5 years later when I started really enjoying Black Ops 4 a lot more. That's the only time I came back and played this map, and even then, it took me about 10 games to learn everything. 10 multiple hour games to learn everything. There's just too much on this map, and the map does such a poor job of communicating pieces to the player. Each part has multiple different locations. There's parts that look the exact same. There's some parts that can spawn on one side of the map, but their third locations is across the map. It's like the map is trying to make the player frustrated. Like I said, I get wanting to make the map complex, but there's a balance between being complex and being stupid, and I think this map sort of borders on being stupid, especially when it comes to Pack-a-Punch. That third Pack-a-Punch step being the most obnoxious thing ever is the ultimate kick in the face, because it gets to the point where not even Pack-a-Punch is accessible to casual players. Well, something like Blood of the Dead, which is complex as hell, and even Voyage. Pack-a-Punch is so easy to get. It's going to take you like a 10-minute guide to open Pack-a-Punch, and even then, after you open it, it's going to be different the next game. So you need a guide again. I just think this map's learning curve is a huge issue for casual players. But anyway, though, after that, I honestly have nothing else bad to say. I think this map is fantastic. If you can get around the unbelievable learning curve similar to Zetsubo in a way, but much worse, you have an amazing map on your hands, and there is a reason it's remembered for being such a great map. I love Dead of the Night. It is my favorite Chaos map by a landslide. I love the characters on this map. I actually really enjoy the lore, the aesthetic. This map just has it all. And it is 100% deserved that this map gets to be remembered as the cult classic it actually is.